I got my first relaxer at the beauty school, and I remember they described my hair at the time before the relaxer, like my hair was like a sponge.
Trying different hairstyles gave me that expression and individuality.
Cornrows, that was the style of choice. Cornrows with beads, with the aluminum foil at the end.
Favorite style right now, my fro, my bang, and then it's a whole process. So
if you're distracted by my hair, that's a reflection of your own insecurity and your own projection onto me.
I don't think there is an ugly phase in hair. I feel like, if anything, that is the time to really connect with yourself and realign how you view hair and identify what hair means to you and the beauty of it, and just enjoy every part of that journey.
Hey y'all, my name is Anastasia and this is my Detangled story. Hello, everybody. My name is Anastasia Johnson, and I am the host of the Detangled Story podcast. This podcast explores the tales of Black hair, history, and healing. Through real-life experiences, shared reflections, and of course, storytelling, we will be unraveling the truth woven into every curl, kink, and coil. Today, it's just you and me. I am the special guest for today. For those who know me personally, I'm not much of a talker, but yet here we are on a podcast. How did we get here? And I wanted to really share that with everybody today. The Tangled Stories came from, it's a spin-off almost of a performing arts show that I did, a dance theater show called Color Me Curly Detangled Stories, where you follow these 5 different characters and their connection with each other and things like that. But today, I kind of want to start from the beginning because I never really broke down what Color Me is to everyone. So I really wanted to share that before we really get into all of the storytelling that you'll be hearing. You'll be having some visual episodes, some audio episodes, but a lot of good storytelling. So I want to take you back to 2022. I actually have some notes here because I didn't want to mess up the timeline. So we're going to take a trip down memory lane together. So in 2022, there was a application for this pretty much a emerging artist lab through this company called Blacklight. And I was interested. And during the proposal, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I got to this idea that I kind of made up a while ago called the Do Better Project. Also in 2022, while this was happening, I was also a part of another residency program called 202 Creates. It's where so I'm located in the DMV area. If you're not familiar with my work, I'm a dancer, choreographer, curator in the DMV area. But I was developing my dance company at the time. So I saw this, one of my friends posted that the 202 Creates was accepting more residents. And I was like, oh, I should do that. So during that time, I'm developing this idea of what I want my business to be. I kind of was creating this Color Me idea world over there, but also creating it in real time during this application for Blacklight. And so when these two things were happening and I'm really breaking down what is going on in my brain with the Do Better Project, because the Do Better Project is pretty much a community service-based project that I just wanted to do in the world to essentially help people, be better, do better, through workshops and free dance classes and a lot of different arts-based things. So making art more accessible to the community and really being able to help the community in different ways. So I'm working on this application, making stuff up as I go along because who knows what anything is. The Do Better Project, I have these notes here. I wanted to root it in community service, community building, and addressing societal issues. So those are my pillars almost within this. And then I kind of proposed at the end of the Do Better Project that one of the actual missions would to be Color Me. A lot of the work that I do is the intersection of me, one, being a woman, being Black, and that intersectionality of how I navigate in the art world, how I navigate in relationships, how I navigate through social media and things like that. I'm underrepresented in many different ways because of that intersectionality. And how can I color myself? How can I reimagine what Black women look like in those different lanes, professionally, in media? So that's where the Color Me part came from. How can I reimagine or make a picture to colors Black women in a different light? It obviously expanded over the years to be more than just like Black women, but to be more so for anybody, definitely a person of color. So that's kind of how that got started. Also in 2022 is when I kind of broke Color Me off into different lanes. So I broke Color Me off into kind, pretty, and curly. So Color Me kind was more so of like, how can I make the angry Black woman or the scary Black man theories and go away? So I didn't want Blackness to be seen as a weapon or seen as destructive or dangerous. So how can I use my art to wash that away? Color Me Pretty was tackling colorism and things like that. And then for Color Me Curly, it was the celebration of Black hair and all of its curls, kinks, and coils. So as I'm going through this idea of just making this up as I go along, because nothing is in full effect. I'm just off the noggin. Just me and Jesus out here making this stuff up as I go along. Writing it down on applications and hoping for the best. February 2022 is when I was applying to the Black Light. But August of 2022 is when I was actually developing what Color Me was during 202 Creates. So by the time 2023 rolled around, I get accepted and I'm actually working. So all the things that I'm making up in the 202 Creates, I'm actually able to embody now that I'm a part of this like emerging artist lab with Blacklight, which was really nice because towards the end of that like fellowship in 2023, I was able to do a research residency. And that research residency was about 7 days. So it was, February 19th through the 25th. So during this time, I went in. I was watching every documentary I could, reading books, listening to music surrounding Black hair or Blackness and anything like that. I was just really able just to be in a studio and just have some alone time. And I was in there for like maybe 5 hours a day, if not more, just being in the space. Some days, like one day I watched a documentary about Black hair while taking out my braids and like recorded that process. And I still have like footage of that residency, but it was such a good time to really embody all of this research and words that I was doing in 202 Creates. So now I'm here. The second to last day of the residency, I decided to have a chat and chew. It was an invite only. Oh, backtrack. That's when I actually started the interviews. So this is when I started interviewing people for the first time. So like I mentioned, throughout this experience of the podcast, you will be hearing some interviews actually from that week, from that residency week where I'm like, okay, research has to go beyond what I know. Like I know my hair and things like that. So how can I interview people to figure out their hair journey, their connection to their hair, their love with their hair, all that type of stuff. So that's where actually the interviews started during that week. And then another thing that I developed during that week, like I said, during the chat and chew, was this coloring project. So again, back to the Color Me Pretty. I don't know when she started this, but it was a young girl. Her name is Belen. I believe I'm saying her name right. Belen. She had created these like crayons called More Than Peach. And she started this More Than Peach project, which then Crayola kind of used that idea and then made their Color of the World crayons and coloring pencils. So I went on Google, went on Amazon, found some coloring books that had Afrocentric features and Black features so that the friends that I had can color self-portraits of people that actually look like us, because it's really hard to find coloring pages of people that look like people of color. And had our features, had our hair, had our curls and things like that. So I really wanted this idea of creating a self-portrait to look like you and not. And the reason that she called it More Than Peach, because I watched an interview of her a long time ago, but she was saying that I think they were doing a self-portrait project actually, and the only color that they had for a flesh tone was peach. I thought that was a really cool idea and wanted to sit some friends down and talk about like our hair journey of like how we grew up while we're coloring these images of these really nice images of Black women and different curl patterns and braids and all that type of stuff. So I never like colored a picture like that myself, even in my adulthood. So it was really nice to have all of these adults together having this shared experience that we didn't have as children. And I wanted to continue that, which later in the story, I did continue that workshop with other people and other schools and things like that. But during that chat and shoot, I was definitely telling all my friends, like everything that I had learned from that research week, all the things that was kind of like balling up in my head of like ideas and so much stuff. And then the last day, I think I also invited some people to come back to like learn some choreo of things that I've been doing over that week as well. So that was a really pivotal moment in the Color Me world in developing this, because I just had time, and time was just couldn't ask for more. So I have all this research now. I have all these ideas. I've written everything out. But now I don't have anywhere to like kind of show it out to the world. So funny enough, timing wise, towards the end of 2023, there was an open call to a dance theater called Dance Place to have a show. I didn't really want to choreograph a full evening length show because I haven't done one yet. And something told me, hey, let's do a hair show. And I was like, yeah, that should be easier. 0 out of 10 was not easier. Not 0 out of 10 because it was a great experience, but 0 out of 10 of thinking that it was easier. Not easier at all. Because one, don't do hair. And two, I thought it was going to be less work on me choreographically or mentally. But again, first production. So why did I think that? Who knows? But I did have a choreographer that helped, Dashe Green. Shout out to Dashe. That helped a lot with that. But overall, I was like, how am I supposed to do this? But I did it. And it was really good. And that show, I knew that Color Me in general was going to be a hard concept for people to understand off the jump. So my idea was, okay, I have Color Me Kind, Color Me Pretty, and Color Me Curly. What was going to be the easiest one for people to digest first and that I had the most knowledge in? And so I picked Curly because I've had my own hair journey. Like I grew up in the 90s. So I had my phase of the beads, the braids, and all this type of stuff. And then I kind of got older, started getting more relaxers, wanted to play with weaves and some temporary color and all the different types of stuff. And then I was just like, actually, no, I want to go on the natural wave. And that's pretty much how I base the theme of this hair show. Just my real life experience of starting in the 90s. We had a lot of different, also, I kind of framed it as a fashion show too. So I had to work with so many collaborators. I made a hair team. I made a makeup team. I made a fashion team. Everybody that worked with me had to be a model in the show because I was like, hey, I just need people. So I was so many of my friends were a part of this first production that I did, but it was so good. Sold out show, top tier. It was so good for me during that time because it was really hard to get funding overall in the arts because I didn't have any work samples. And being in the art world, work samples matter a lot in applications. So I was able to get some good footage. I was able to get some bomb photos and all this type of stuff during this production, which kind of shot up from there. Once I got that kind of package or material, Color Me kind of went up from there because I had the proof behind all of the research that I have been doing. I also continued interviews during this hair show because throughout the interludes, we had pre-recorded interviews of people telling their hair story as we're going through the different decades of the 90s into this professionalism, redefining professionalism into embracing the hair and this natural hair movement. We had people talking in real time about their personal journeys and how it was similar. Black hair is so attached to like the culture, the music, growing up, church, so many things in Black culture is attached to Black hair, and I knew that would be able to sink into people faster. So that's why I decided to go with the curly route first, because my personal experience, the research that I did during the research residency, and I knew it was going to be able to tap into people's nostalgia and all these different types of things. So didn't want to start off with like colorism. Not good. That would have been like a hard sell to start with. I needed people to kind of embrace the world of Color Me and the work that I'm doing of redefining Blackness first. So that 202 Creates into Blacklight, into that first production, was like the kickoff of Color Me. Funny enough, that show, the first production that premiered in February of 2024, was a exact year from when I had that Chat and Chew. So the Chat and Chew was February 24th in 2023, and then that hair show was February 24th, 2024. So that happened directly a year apart of me speaking it out to friends and family, and then having it happen in real time. So was really good about that. And I really enjoyed that process. And many people that you might see throughout this week, or not week, but throughout this podcast journey of people that have been involved in different ways, whether that be attending a show or was a part of the show. So yeah, after I had that first production, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take a break. I'm not gonna do anything for another year. And then at the end of 2024, the Atlas Arts Lab applications went out, and I was just like, guess I'm gonna apply to that too. I got these good work samples. I gotta use them. So I did, and I got that. So that I got accepted into the Arts Lab at the end of 2024. I started working on my now second production, which is Color Me Curly, Detangled Stories. And so now that I had a good enough following of this Color Me world that I was creating, I was just like, now I'm going to switch it up on y'all. Because everybody was asking, when are we going to have another hair show? When are we going to have another hair show? I'm like, I'm going to have another show, but it won't be a hair show. So I decided to switch into dance theater. Always been a fan of dance theater. I was like a Disney kid growing up, so I was watching all the Cheetah Girls, High School Musicals, all that different types of stuff. So the acting, dancing, and singing that aspect of what I always enjoyed is something that I wanted to do. So not necessarily musical theater is not the route that I went. It definitely was more dance theater with a little bit of singing in it, but it's something that I always wanted to do. And this arts lab gave me months to kind of develop this idea and really tap into it. So I collabed with, I'm not called AJ Collabs for anything. I be collabing with folks because if I don't know how to do it, somebody do. And that's why I love people, because, hey, help. So I collaborated with a singing coach, an acting coach, and we got to work. Me and the cast, we were able to develop these characters of, like, we have a character that loves wigs and weaves, but in real life have short hair. So, like, what does masking look like? We had this character where they're pretty much, again, they're cousins too. So it taps into like the cousinhood of it all. And then also the Black family dynamic. And then also like how you can be in the same family and grow up differently. And then parallel how you can be in the same family and have different hair textures, and your hair journey is completely different too. So we play a little bit with texturism as well. Within that, we tap into like how to redefine professionalism within those. And these weren't real life stories, but they were inspired from real life stories, these characters. So storytelling has, again, from the beginning, has always been a part of the world that I was creating, because I think Black people are great storytellers. We would love to add a, when da-da-da happened and boom, boom, boom. Like, it's just great. And so I just always enjoyed talking to people, especially with what I've been developing around Black hair, of just how in tune it is into our upbringing of sitting in between your mom's lap or getting ready for church and putting on your Sunday's best, meaning that your hair needs to be done as well as your clothes, like how it ties into fashion and how we can remember what music video made us want to get a hairstyle. Like I remember even sports. I loved Allen Iverson braids. I went through a whole era of just like having Allen Iverson braids. Didn't know anything about basketball, still don't, but I knew him and I knew his braids. So of how much that can tap into our culture. And so this was just another iteration of that. So I kind of want to just expand it out and make a podcast for people to continue to tell their stories, because it's too good. It's too good to like not do. And I think it's so many funny aspects that could happen within Black hair of like, oh my God, that happened to you too? Like, oh my goodness, like we were out here just burning our scaps as kids just to have a relaxer. Like, why was we out here doing that? Or getting popped by a comb because you're moving too much, or being in the bathroom, putting up a ponytail and your hairband breaks. Like, come on, like what's going on? That'd be the last straw. You've been doing all this work and you finally got it slick and you holding it on with one hand. Like it's just stuff like that everybody won't understand. One, if you don't have the hair thickness, or you don't understand of like why I'm not getting into the pool even though I'm at a pool party, or why I use a shower cap, or why I have a certain amount of bonnets or scarves or any type of thing to protect my hair. It's so cultural that I just wanted people to continue their stories. The good, the bad, and the ugly, right? That's why I kind of used the word detangled, because I wanted it to have this aspect of like, sometimes it has knots, but when you finally get it detangled, it's nice and smooth. So how can you play with this idea of the good, bad, and the ugly? So there are many detangled stories that you will hear throughout this podcast. I'll share a couple myself because I've had a few. I've shared one on my Instagram before, but I'm gonna retell this story because it was just that it was a mess. So this goes back to when I was in college. I was a part of this modeling troupe called Esteem Models. I went to James Madison University. We were getting ready for a fashion show, and my hair assignment was to like have a blowout. But I didn't have like a real blow dryer. I only had like the actual blow dryer, and like it didn't have a comb attachment. And I needed a comb attachment. I got 4C hair. What am I doing with a blow dryer with no comb attachment? 0 out of 10. So I'm trying to do like the blow dry brush method, and that's not really working. It's working, but it's not getting to what it needs to get to. But it also wasn't my normal blow dryer. I usually use like a yellow bird or silver bird, but it wasn't any of that. It was like a very cheap blow dryer. So it's not really getting as hot as I wanted to either. So obviously this is before, I knew about all the heat damage that I was doing to my hair. But at the time, who cares about that? I need my hair blow dried. But I'm in a dorm room. No door open, like the door shut, windows down. I'm blow drying my hair, and my roommate walks in, and she immediately starts coughing because I smoked the room out. I smoked this room out, and she like immediately starts coughing, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, is it that bad?" Because I'm in it, so I'm just out here fighting for my life, trying to get my hair blow dry, and I'm not even noticed that I'm smoking up the room, and so. She was like, yes. She was like, maybe you should open up a window. As I go to open the window, our fire alarm goes off in our apartment dorm. And I was like, oh no. So we're sitting here fanning it. Trying to make it stop. It did not stop. So it goes from our room to our unit to the whole dorm. Now, it's not early in any means. It's late. It had to be past 11. Because I'm a night owl, so I'm doing stuff I have no business doing at 11. First of all, I'm already making noise. I'm already using a blow dryer, already making noise, smoking out the room at 11 something that night. And the dorms that I had, like we had 3 different buildings, but they weren't connected. But if one alarm goes off in one building, the whole 3 units go off. So I'm not just interrupting my building. I'm interrupting 3 buildings. So it's just everybody outside. And I'm like, how am I supposed to tell this person that I literally set off the alarm from blow drying my hair? But I did. I had to tell my RA that. She was like, do you know what happened? I was like, okay, so before they get here, let me just tell you, I was blow drying my hair. She was like, you were blow drying your hair? She looked at me like, that's it? That's all you were doing? I was like, mm-hmm. Mind you, my hair's not done being blow dried, so my hair's still wet on the other side. I'm only done like maybe a quarter, if that. And so I'm like, yeah. And they came in, realized obviously it wasn't a fire. All that happened. And they were just like, I mean, open the window next time. And then that was that. So very embarrassing. Then the next day I had texted the group chat like, yo, I need a blow dryer. Because again, my hair's not done. But at this point, I'm embarrassed and I'm just not gonna finish blow drying my hair. We're just gonna go to sleep and try again in the morning. So I just had to wait till the next day to blow dry my hair with the real deal, with the comb attachment, because that was not it. But me and blow dryers always had a little issue because another time at my parents' house, I had a blow dryer incident where, again, smoking the place out. But I have a lot of earrings, and when you have a lot of earrings, I mean you have a lot of earring bags. Again, I was blow drying my hair on the highest temperature at the fastest speed, and I didn't take my earrings out, and the tooth of the comb got stuck at the back of my earring, and my ear was on fire. Like, I was just screaming, and then I was so shocked that I didn't turn the blow dryer off. So I'm just stuck with this hot air blowing in my ear. It actually was this ear blowing in my ear. And my dad come in and just unplugs it and looks at me. He was like, it was just quiet. And he just stared at me like, so you just not gonna turn the blow dryer off? I was panicking. I was hot. I couldn't get unstuck. It was a lot going on. So yeah, it'd be like that when it comes to hair stories, and I'm sure people have their own, but that's what this podcast is about. It's about being able to share your different stories, whether it's good or it's bad, but at the end of the day, still embracing your journey, still embracing your hair, still loving your hair, and all of that. So yeah, that's kind of how we got to the Detangled Story podcast. So it will be a journey, and I hope you stay with us. It will be super fun, super exciting, hopefully funny. I invited a lot of funny guests. A lot of good storytelling will be a part of this podcast, but I hope you all definitely enjoy the ride. But before I let you go, I do want to end off with this. We love our hair. We honor our hair. We are our hair. Follow us on all social media platforms at AJ Collabs. Until the next time.